Yeah, meanwhile, I'll just introduce our speaker today. And Kavitha is a firm believer in learning as a vehicle for change and belonging. She is the Associate Vice President for Operations and Talent Management at Oceans, having just completed a stint as AVP People Growth at Fortune. So, Kavitha is passionate about education, theatre, culture, mindset change, and diversity. She gained her knowledge of presentation skills, storytelling, and broadcast media as radio and TV news presenter at TV1, ESFM News First, as well as TNL Radio Network. She has served on multiple international schools as well. In 2020, during the first wave of COVID-19 pandemic, she co-founded Storyland Sri Lanka, an online platform for language and drama education. So the topic is the untapped gift. And I know we're all eager to hear her insights. And please join me in welcoming Kavitha Gunasekara. Kavitha, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that very kind introduction, Rizana. I hope I just see that I'm sharing my screen right now, but it's not, I don't see the screen that I'm sharing. So I just wanted to
It's
check,
visible.
Rizana, whether you see.
Yes, yes, we can see.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much and welcome everybody. Really want to say thank you to Bistec Academy for the invitation. In the interest of time, I'm going to cut short on a few of the activities that I had planned. But hopefully we have a good opportunity to understand the topic and participate. So really would like your engagement. Technical difficulties happen. Sometimes we have to navigate them, and it's all a part of learning. And just like Rizana said, learning is something that I'm passionate about, and hopefully today that's something that I can support you with as well. All right. So as I move into the topic for today, just wanted to once again, make sure that all of you are um, uh, engaged, and I will be asking you to participate in a few activities. If at any point, Rizana, there's someone who has raised their hand, please do let me know. I would be very, very much appreciative if you could let me know as well,
Sure.
because I only see my slide, I don't see myself, since I'm joining from the browser. Okay,
Sure.
all right. So, getting into it, it's a Friday evening, and I'm really grateful to all of you who joined. Today's topic is the untapped gift. So many of you may have been wondering, what is this untapped gift all about? Well, I think we had a lovely introduction to the whole aspect where our previous speaker, Pranika Ranavira, started off with the aspect of growth mindset. And today's topic is also a little bit connected to growth mindset, but more on the focus of mindset and a few things that we can do to understand our untapped gift or our mindset in with regards to the type of work that we do from an HR operations or administrative perspective. I'll be sharing a few things that have helped me as well. And if you do have any questions, please do post it on the chat. So let's start off with another technical requirement. I need everybody to use their mobile phones and scan the QR code that you see on the screen. So you have two ways of participating in this activity. Either you can go to www.menti.com and enter the code 8309329. That's the instruction that you see on the left-hand side of your screen. If you are someone who prefers to use the QR code, go ahead and do that. It will show you, it will take you to the Menti activity that we're planning to do. So right now, I hope that all of you have been able to either scan the QR code.
I am really sorry to interrupt, Kavitha. I think the slide hasn't moved yet to
Oh
the
dear.
sick.
Okay. Right. Okay. So let's try that again. Um, on a moment. Let me try sharing my screen again. How about now? Can you see www.menti.com?
Yes.
Yes, okay, great. Lovely. So again, I'll give everyone a minute, www.menti.com and enter the code 8309329, or you can scan the QR code and enter. So I'll see a count. Okay, great. We have one person. Well done to the one person who has joined in. Would like to have at least 2 or 3 more. Great. We now have 2 people who have joined in. We wait for the third person and then move into today's start of activity. All right. So we have 3 people in. Wonderful. Great to see that. Let's go into the activity. I'd like to know a little bit more about you. You should see this screen either on your mobile phone or on your device, your laptop or a tab, whichever you're using. Tell me, do you work with colleagues or clients who were born or who were raised outside of Sri Lanka? So here I'm referring to geographical boundaries being the boundaries of our country. Great. So we have the 3 participants, the 3 brave participants who logged in. Thank you to all 3 of you. So all 3 of you work with colleagues or clients. Okay, we have a 4th brave person. Wonderful. You all 4 work with clients who were born or raised outside your geographical boundaries. Lovely. Let's go to the next one. Be honest. Don't. Okay. So thanks. I'm going to switch on video now and continue. Thank you everyone who submitted your inputs. So sometimes, thank you for being honest also. You said that sometimes you consider yourself a good listener or sometimes you have been told that you are a good listener. One individual has said that they frequently have been told or are considered a good listener. That's great to hear. Thank you. Last but not least, when you meet someone from a different culture, what is the first thing you notice? Do you notice their general appearance? Do you notice their voice and accent? Do you notice their mannerism and body language? Or do you notice the things that you have in your mind, the questions that you may have in your mind about where they could be coming from? Hope my slide is visible with the 4 options.
Yes.
All right, so we'll wait for the responses to come in. So you have 4 responses. The question is, when you meet someone from a different culture, what's the first thing that you notice? Okay, interesting. So some notice the appearance first, then we see voice or accent, then the questions in your mind, and finally their mannerisms or body language. Great. Thank you so much for that participation. And we're going to switch back to the slides in just a moment. So very interesting to see the responses come in. And thank you for staying engaged despite the challenges that we were facing. So just wanted to give you a quick introduction to something that I call the multicultural mindset, or in other words, how we use our minds to embrace and honor and value different people from different parts of the world. Now, this is something that we don't often talk about. We often have individuals who are our clients or our seniors or our supervisors who we may meet on the ground in Sri Lanka. But at the same time, there may be individuals who we meet who aren't necessarily from our part of the world. And very frequently in the modern day scenario and setup of the workplace, it's vital to keep in mind that you will meet these individuals as part of your workplace. They will be fundamentally integral parts of the workplace and the place that the role that you play will also have a bearing, and the role that they play will also have a bearing in the kind of success you have in your job. So, moving to back to the slides, and because I'm in the Microsoft Teams browser mode, I'm not going to show it to you from a PowerPoint perspective because I feel that that was the issue with the slides before. Hopefully my slides are visible now. I'm sharing them in the PDF version. Are they visible?
Yes, yes, Kavitha.
And as I change my slide, also can I get a
Yes,
confirmation?
yes,
Perfect. Thank you so much, Rizana. Okay, so what is the untapped gift? How you use your mindset to embrace culture. What does that mean? Well, let me tell you a little bit about what you will learn in these few minutes since we are short on time. I just want to give you a few strategies to become aware of and to overcome any cultural assumptions that we have. And also to make sure that we are effectively communicating and collaborating no matter which cultures we're coming. Doesn't mean that it needs to be global cultures. It can be cultures within the country as well. So with that in mind, thinking about cultivating a multicultural awareness. This was a quotation that I found very interesting. Self-presentation, or the way that you are seen by somebody else, or the way that somebody else looks at you, we can't help it. It's not something that we can control. We sometimes get upset for such situations like this. Haven't you? And maybe in this activity, I'd like for you to share, to raise your hand. I think that raise hand option is not disabled, but for this activity, I'd like for you to raise your hand. If you have ever gotten upset by the tone of an email, you may have received an email and you felt upset by that email. If you have ever felt like that, please raise your hand. Thank you. I have one raised hand. Appreciate that. I am also going to raise my hand because I too have faced that situation where I have received an email. Thank you to the 4 individuals who raised their hands. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's very easy to get upset by an email, especially by the tone of the email, because sometimes we don't see the person. We don't see whether they're smiling, we don't see whether they're laughing, we don't see whether they're angry, but we assume the anger or we assume the kind of expression that's on their face. So, whether it's intentionally or not, every person in an interaction conveys an impression to others. But do we really think about it that much? That's the question that I have for you. So there are 6 pictures up on the screen from different cultures, including from here in Sri Lanka. I would like you to tell me about which picture attracted your attention. So don't put it in numbers. You can say the man with the hat. You can say Savi or Master Chef. You can say people at the marketplace. You can say people on the street. You can say upcountry train. You can say face painted lady. However you want to put it out, that's perfectly fine. But which of these pictures attracted you the most is what I'm interested to know. And okay, lovely. Upcountry train, thank you. Face painted lady, okay, nice. We have 2 responses. I'll wait to see whether we have 2 more. Okay, nice. Upcountry train, yes, it is a popular one. Face painted lady and Master Chef, both interesting. Thank you. All right. So I hope that more and more responses come in, but it's very interesting. Each of us, maybe there are similarities, and there are popular, I believe, 2 pictures: the face painted lady and the upcountry train. But each of us are thinking or getting engaged by a different picture. It's not the same picture for everybody. Why is that? Maybe the picture reminds us of something. Maybe it brings back a memory. Maybe, we were looking at something very similar a few minutes ago or yesterday. Maybe it is something that you have never seen before, but because of the colors or the shapes or the way, the place that the picture has been taken, it's very interesting to you. Now, keeping that in mind, with whatever may have been interesting for you and whatever the kind of um, engagement that it brought you, that's the same thing that happens to us when we encounter people. And if you think about it, each of these pictures, whether you see them or not, you don't see the people specifically in the upcountry train, but you know that they're there. So when we meet people and we encounter them, especially if we have never seen them before or encountered them before, automatically our minds are getting either engaged, which is a good thing, or we are getting disengaged, which may not be a good thing. How do we now use this awareness, either engagement or disengagement, to help ourselves in the global and current world that we work in, where we are crossing boundaries, time zones? I am sitting in one part of the country, you may be sitting in another part of the country. If you wanted to, you could take your laptop and go and work somewhere else. You have different options and different ways of working. That means that we have a lot of things that may be going on around us. But we have to recognize this word that we sometimes think is not a good word, bias, or in other words, unconscious bias. We all have biases, often formed unconsciously because of the way we have grown up or the way we have understood the world, or maybe the things that we have spoken about with people, or the things that other people have spoken about to us. All of these things create a way of thinking inside our minds, and that leads to something that we sometimes call unconscious bias. For example, maybe I am somebody who does not like individuals who have blue color hair. And as a person who is in operations and talent management, I have to recruit people. I have to conduct interviews, 3, 4 interviews a day sometimes. And if I were to have somebody coming into a final interview and they have blue hair, and I immediately put a message to the team and I say, sorry, I don't want this person in the team. Have I given that person a chance? No. Why? Because all I have done is looked at one aspect of the person, their blue hair, and I have formed a judgment about them, which is very unfair. It's not something that we like to talk about, but all of us do this sometimes. We may be walking on the street and we may have a bias. We may be sitting next to somebody in the movie theater and we may have a bias. But it's important to learn about it, particularly because we are not working, we may be working from home, hypothetically sometimes, but we are not working in isolation. We're working with global individuals in a fast paced, growing industry that we can't forget. Now, what does that mean in terms of us as individuals? In the background, you may notice that I have put a plate and then I have hidden the plate a little bit. There's some food that's on the plate. I have hidden it for a reason, right? You can see the plate, you can see a person's hands, and you can see that there's some kind of food on the plate. Even when we go out to have a meal, do we always go to the same place every single day? No, we don't. We want to have differences. In fact, when we have the same thing day in and day out, we start complaining, don't we? When it's not, no change and things are like boring sometimes, or food that we eat can get boring sometimes, we start complaining. The same thing applies to the kind of people we work with. Imagine where we lived in a world where everybody was cut from the same They looked the same, they wore the same clothes, they had the same color hair, they all did the same job. Would it be an interesting world to live in? Probably not. So, if we don't want our food that we consume to be boring, then why do we have these biases around us? Well, shouldn't we embrace the people around us and value the fact that they're different from us? It's easier said than done, right? Especially when you're having a disagreement with somebody. So, why should we bother? In the world that we work in, and particularly because we're talking about the way that we approach other people, if we start moving towards what I like to call a multicultural mindset, where we don't care about where, maybe it's okay to care about where the person comes from, but where we don't let that cloud our judgment. Sometimes I myself have done this, where I think, oh, this person is from this country, so their personality must be like this. And before I have even met them and I've only read their email, sometimes I could have an unconscious bias. I hope my slides are changing where it says, so why bother? If it isn't, let me know. It's changing,
Yes,
Rizana?
yes,
Okay,
yes,
all right,
yes.
great, thanks. All right. So, boosting your employability and enhancing your performance. If we spend time thinking about the differences people have from us, it's going to get in the way of our success. It will affect the kind of work we do. We need to make sure that we are opening our minds to what is a multicultural mindset. And it won't happen overnight. If it's something that even me as an individual, even though I have been talking to people about this for many years, I still have to check myself sometimes. I work with multicultural individuals from all parts of the world. And sometimes, especially when I'm tired or when I've had a long day, sometimes these biases start creeping in. And I have to stop myself because it's not helping me. It's just creeping in and making me think about it, and I'm wasting my time. At the same time, if you only look at people's differences, remember the question that I asked: do you consider yourself someone who looks at appearance or accent or voice? All of that is fine. But is that stopping you from going and introducing yourself to somebody? Maybe you have been to a conference or you have been to a seminar, and there are people from different parts of the world. Have you gone up to them and said, "Hi, my name is so and so, and I am from this country, and I'm very glad to meet you. What do you do for a living?" What a lovely thing to do to break the ice or to expand our network. Of course, to grow your potential, and the most important thing, to develop a global mindset. We hear about so many different things in the news these days, and there's a lot of different conversations going on around where the country is heading. But we have to remember that we are not a country just by ourselves on the map. We are a country that is part of a larger globe with a lot more people, and it's not just us as a group. So I would love to play this video to you. I'm going to stop sharing the PDF version and try to bring the video on screen. Bear with me for a few moments in order to ensure that my bandwidth is not affected and I get the video to screen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go off video for a few seconds and then share my screen. All right. So hopefully this is a very sweet video that I'd like for you to just spend 1 minute and 40 seconds watching. Can you see my shared screen, which has the video of two? There's a picture, this frame of two little girls. Is it visible?
I think some of us can see it. Some of your note, sticky note,
Oh
right?
no. Okay, let me try again. Let me try again. Okay, how about now? Do you see
Yes,
the, you do? Okay, and
yes.
I just made it a little larger.
Yeah.
Now we're going to test the volume. Did you hear some music?
No, no. Maybe when we share, we can. Yes, there's an option include sound.
I did try that, but it did not allow me to share with sound. It was disabled. Let me try one more time. Okay. Do you hear the music now?
No,
No?
no.
Oh dear. Okay. One last try. Hold on a moment. Okay, so we're going to try this in a different way where I'm not playing it from my PowerPoint, but where I play it from. Okay, let's try one last time. Otherwise, what I'll do is everyone, I will share with you the link and you can watch it subsequently. So I'll need your help to tell me whether you can hear the audio now.
Yes, we can.
You can? Okay,
Yes.
great. Okay, so let me go into full screen mode and here we go.
What makes you two different from each other?
I used to not like letters, but now I like letters. I do not like letters at all. Lucy loved tomato sauce, and I do like it, but I don't love it as much as Lucy. Don't have the same. Our office is down the hill, and I live up the hill. No, I have smaller toes than Artie. Adia likes goose and chips, and I like sushi. And they're different. She never stops talking. We got different hair. He listen has that doesn't have squirrels in the roof. We have squirrels in the roof, so we can't watch television that much because it's biting all the wires. Both. I'm good at gymnastics and Kayla May is good at swimming. I'm not good at dancing. I am. You're a defender and I'm a defender. No, I'm not anymore. I used to be. No, I'm not. No, we're not. What? Good at counting and I'm good at hiding. And Matthew's good at better Tig. And Matthew's good at staying in den. Do you have anything else to say? No.
Okay, thank you. So hopefully some of the sound carried and hopefully that you were able to hear the different children speaking. A beautiful video where there was two children together in each scenario and the person behind the camera said, what do you see as a difference among yourselves? and they were finding it difficult to answer. But maybe you sitting and watching the video may not have found it difficult. You may have noticed a few things earlier or seen a few things earlier. So I'm going to go into a couple of things that have helped me, and hopefully we can conclude in 7 minutes because I have to stop in at 5:15. Thank you, Roshana, for your question. How do we manage personal or cultural boundaries and or be open to differences and open to meeting others? So I'm going to share a few things that will hopefully help answer the question, things that have helped me and that hopefully will help you also. If we talk about, okay, let me first check. Are the slides visible?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks. So how do we keep ourselves or make sure that we are communicating across cultures effectively? One way of doing this is what I call active listening. Some people think that listening and sometimes active listening means that we are nodding, smiling when appropriate, reacting when appropriate. That's great. That is to some extent listening very well. But we could do that even in a movie, right? Or when watching some TV show. How do we actively listen to people from different cultures? Well, I have a magical tool which costs maybe sometimes it may cost you about maximum 400 to 500 rupees. I call it the notebook. Or in other words, when somebody is speaking, make sure that you're not just listening, but that you're taking notes. This is extremely helpful, especially if you're in a multicultural setting and you are in a meeting with someone who may be from a different country. It's only 400 to 500 rupees. You have it in different sizes, but it's available at most places. That's one way of ensuring you have active listening. Taking notes, and if you aren't able to understand, maybe you can note it down and say something to the effect of, let's say the person has a very strong accent, something to the effect of, hey, I just wanted to check the third point that you mentioned, was it? And you state this. Maybe the person will say, no, actually what I said is this. That's okay, right? But you've checked, you haven't assumed. Second thing, non-verbal communication. Is the person smiling? Are they using body language that shows they're in a good mood? Or is it different? Are they showing like they're in a bad mood? They look confused, they look upset. That may also be a very good thing to keep an eye out for. We do that with our friends, right? Where we see them at work sometimes and maybe they don't look the same way that they normally look, and we may ask the question, is everything okay? Are you feeling all right? What happened? What's up? Non-verbal communication is something we do very well as human beings. So we need to keep an eye out for it, particularly when we're communicating across cultures. Language and behaviors that may be sensitive, or in other words, cultural sensitivity. Be careful, especially if you're traveling to a new place for the first time. There are different ways and paces and things that are accepted and not accepted. Do a bit of research, is my suggestion. Go and take a look. Even if it's someone that you may not be traveling to meet, they may be traveling to meet you. Research and say, okay, what are some things you can avoid? What are some things that you can do? There are certain things that folks even may not appreciate based on food preferences. Don't we ask that from individuals? We ask them, are you vegetarian, non-vegetarian for events or gatherings? Same thing applies when it comes to behavior and cultural aspects. And last but not least, value diverse perspectives. A lot of the time when we are in a meeting, especially where there are individuals from different cultures, even if it's not people outside of the country, when we have people who differ from our opinions, it's very difficult. We like for people to agree with us. We want people to agree with us. I also used to like that. I thought that people show that they like me by agreeing with me. Incorrect. No. What if we were to embrace something called healthy indifference or healthy disagreement, where you may say, okay, I understand your viewpoint. Thank you for sharing it. However, this is my viewpoint. It's difficult. We don't do that normally. We don't normally think few things, and if you want, you can take a screenshot of these, folks. Things that you can work towards building. Number one, the same way that you want others to speak in a way that you understand them, are you speaking in a way that others can understand you? Two, appropriate conversational rules. In an email, we will follow a format with the kind of different cultures that we meet on a day-to-day basis. Are there rules that we need to follow? Are we clear? The same way we want others to be clear. Can we achieve clarity? Four, adjusting for non-routine interactions. Or in other words, you may be somebody who really feels that you know this person and you met them and all of that. That's very great. But what about when you have to give them some bad news? That's a challenge. Empathy, or in other words, walking in someone else's shoes. So I'm just going to touch on empathy for a few minutes longer. 10 things that you can do to show that you are being empathetic towards the other person. And again, this is a slide that you can screenshot. Think about the other person when you're trying to demonstrate empathy. It's the number one piece that even as an individual who looks at interviews and meets people from parts of the world, if you have empathy, it's much easier to work towards a multicultural mindset. And the 10 things that I've listed on this slide, unfortunately, I won't have time to go into detail on each of them, but the 10 things that I've listed on this slide can help you to get closer to it. They're very simple things. Some of them I discussed, like nonverbal cues, active listening. I'm just going to point out one thing that we often underestimate. We don't always realize the value of remembering people's names and using their names correctly. Not just remembering the names, but using their names correctly. So these are just a few things. I hope that you've taken a screenshot if you found it useful, but these are just a few things that you can help yourself to improve on when it comes to a multicultural mindset. Last but not least, if you are further interested in diagnosing or understanding your cultural intelligence, you can scan this QR code that I have put up here. It leads you to a quick assessment by Harvard Business Review, where it gives you 3 aspects of cultural intelligence: emotional, physical, and cognitive. For those of you who are interested, scan the QR code and you will be able to access the assessment if you'd really like to deep dive and understand your cultural mindset or multicultural mindset better. Thank you so much once again for staying on, first of all, through the session and through the technical difficulties. And I really appreciate the fact that you engaged and gave in answers and participated. Hopefully that this has been a learning session for you, that you can take something back with you, and looking forward to maybe a better and a more improved multicultural mindset, because that is your gift.
Thank you so much, Kavitha. Really appreciate the time and effort you put into sharing your knowledge with us. Your insights were truly inspiring, and I'm sure everyone here is leaving with a new perspective thanks to you. And thank you once again for your valuable contribution and for making this event so memorable. I need to apologize because we had to face a lot of technical difficulties, but with all those obstacles, and we made it, and we learned a lot of new things from you. And yeah, so as we come to an end of Our Hearts Academy Day. I want to extend my sincere gratitude to our speaker, also to our team who are working to, make this event well. And before signing off, I just need to request you. I have sent a feedback form link to both of your emails and to this meeting chat, and I hope you can take few minutes and fill out and let us know how we did today. And once this meeting ends, you will no longer have access to the chat to retrieve the link. So please be sure to check your email and access the form. And because your feedback is essential to help us to improve our future events, and we hope to conduct more events like this in the future. So once again, thank you so much for your time, all the participants with all the work and busy schedules, and participating and learning something new today. Yeah. And yes, until then, this is Rizana officially signing off. Thank you and cheers.